So I have this laid out onto a control surface, which you can see now on the screen. And I'm going to go on ahead and just sort of run through some of the elements of this particular tool and how that all sort of plays out. So let's go ahead and start. You can see I have two sound files here on the screen, and they're already sort of preloaded up. Now this in particular, this sound is tearing paper. And so if I go on ahead and start turning this on, you'll quickly hear that sound, that quality of sound, whether it's continuously playing or not. Oh, excuse me, I need to turn on the recording. So let's record that. There we go. So now you should hear it. You can probably hear that it's similar to paper. It's reminiscent of paper. It has the sort of textural, timbral qualities of paper, but it's very much has that granular kind of characteristic. Apologies for the siren in the background. I live right next to a fire station, so maybe other sounds in the background as well. My apologies. So let's just explore that sound for a little bit. And if you follow along both on screen and with my hands, you can see how I'm changing stuff in real time, whether it's rate, duration, pitch, etc. I just up to the duration. And now I'm just reading through the file. Let's maybe slow the rate down a bit. So now we can really hear each individual grain. So that gives you an idea of the granular synth itself. Now, there's a lot that we can change in regards to just the granular parameters, but comboing this with an impulse response convolution reverb, sort of slash filter, makes this really interesting. So what we can actually do in that particular case is, let's say we want to load up an impulse response. I can go here to the bank of impulse responses that I've been collecting. I tend to really like objects being used as impulse responses. So let's go to maybe like a metal tray, or excuse me, yeah, metal tray. And let's say this one, which the tray is struck with fingertips. Let's see what that sounds like, how that changes the sound. Now, immediately, right here at the beginning, you're not going to hear much of a difference. It's still the paper sound. It's because I actually have a wet-dry control here, and you can see it's all the way down. So I'm going to start to increase that, and you'll hear it become steadily more metallic. So we really get quite a lot of the resonance of that metal tray in there. What we can do that's particularly interesting, I think, with, for example, with this impulse response, is if we slow down the rate all the way, so there's a lot of space between the grains, and then lower the duration. On its own, that's not going to give us a terribly interesting granular sound. Here's what that would be. I mean, it's nice. It has some interesting characteristics to it. But if we start to really play with the impulse response, we can almost use this as a way of actually playing the impulse response itself. And so we can start to sort of emulate almost like we're actually playing the tray, like a percussive instrument. So there we go. That is this particular tool. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording from inside of Max. Really useful, really fun. I have almost 300 different impulse responses to use with it, which makes for a lot of fun, and you can load any sample in for the granular synthesis end of it as well.